We discussed in a different segment Donald Trump's major campaign mistake, not denouncing and defending his support for and association with Laura Loomer, who's now been seen traveling with Trump in his plane. I'll remind you of that clip if you didn't see it, and Trump complimenting Laura Loomer in the past. Laura Loomer is this far-right activist, super far-right, super racist, super just crazy. And you might remember, some time ago had a debate with her. So in this segment, I want to get to, after reminding you of who she is, given that now this is a major topic, Trump defending his friendship with her. I'll play some clips from me interacting with her, and it was something else. But here is the most recent example of Trump bolstering his support for Laura Loomer. Then I'll show you some things about the past of her.
Republican colleagues or your allies who are concerned about your close relationship with Laura Loomer?
Well, I don't know what they would say. Laura's been a supporter of mine, just like a lot of people are supporters, and she's been a supporter of mine. She speaks very positively of the campaign. I'm not sure why you asked that question, but Laura is a supporter. I don't control Laura. Laura has to say what she wants. she's a free spirit. Well, I don't know. I mean, look, I can't tell Laura what to do. Laura's a supporter. I have a lot of supporters, but I don't know what exactly you're referring to. That's okay. Yeah, please. I just don't know. Laura's a supporter. I don't know. She is a strong person. She's got strong opinions, and I don't know what she said, but that's not up to me. She's a supporter. Please.
All right, so he repeated support her about 1 billion times. He said this about her as well.
Also a woman who's really talented, and she's been amazing. She just loves the campaign and loves the country, and she's brought her whole staff with her. She's a very important person politically, but she's actually free press in the true sense. She's free press, and she's really become a friend of a lot of great patriots in this country. Laura Loomer. Stand up, please, Laura. Great job you do. Great job.
All right, so let's take a look at the great job, according to Trump, that Laura Loomer is doing. That's getting so bad, it's led to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who notably is crazy herself. Media reports Marjorie Taylor Greene calls Trump in rage over Laura Loomer, and MTG has denounced Laura Loomer. Here's Trump and Laura Loomer in a photograph together. Here's Laura Loomer cheersing to a hostile takeover of the GOP with neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes.
The official drink of America first. To the hostile takeover of the Republican Party.
Absolutely.
All right. That's someone Trump also had dinner with. Here's Laura Loomer saying this.
Like the way they talk and their little DEI Shaniqua voices, and it's just very piercing, very irritating sound. They all have the same voice. I'm talking about Kamala Harris, Letitia James, and Fani Willis. Like all of the meritless DEI Shaniquas talk the same way. It's very obnoxious the way that they talk.
DEI Shaniqua voices. And she lists Kamala Harris, Letitia James, and Fani Willis. Just as open as she could possibly be in her bigotry. And she says meritless. Laura Loomer, Kamala Harris has done more in her life, has gained more merit in that sense than you could ever possibly dream of. What you accomplish is people getting loomered, which is you just confronting them with a camera. You have some social media followers. She has been the district attorney of a major city, has been attorney general of the largest state in the country, has been a senator from the largest state of the country, and is now vice president, and is soon to be, hopefully, the president of the United States. That's more than you'll ever do. So justifying your hatred of certain races with, oh no, but I'm making a point about DEI, about her not having the merit, so she got these positions because nonsense. If if you haven't already and want to support us on our race to 1 million subscribers, you can do it by clicking that subscribe button below. Easy, free, simple. It makes all the difference. Back to the video. And just to filter into this, or weave into it, more videos of how friendly they are.
She's actually
That's
much softer than
that says Trump 2024.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah. Rather friendly, actually. A little too friendly. Then you have this. Forbes reports Loomer ran for Congress in 2020 with Trump's backing and lost, then lost again in 2022 in the Republican primary. Loomer, who is Jewish, has openly called herself a proud Islamophobe who supports pro-white nationalism. She was banned from Twitter in 2018 for calling Islam a cancer. Last year, she posted a conspiratorial rant about 9/11 on her X account, accompanied by a video that claimed it was an inside job. During the most recent Republican presidential primary, she attacked Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' wife, Casey, a breast cancer survivor, by accusing her of trying to play the cancer survivor card. Trump regularly reshares Loomer's social media posts on her accounts, and he was considering hiring her for his campaign in April, the New York Times reported, drawing backlash from Green, who called her... So Green is calling Loomer what you're about to hear. Green is mentally unstable and a documented liar. Loomer's publicly advocated violence against Muslims, migrants, and refugees of color. In July 2017, Loomer celebrated the deaths of 2,000 migrants who died at crossing the Mediterranean Sea, tweeting, "Good," clapping emoji. Here's to 2,000 more. And then more just disgusting stuff there, but for the sake of time, we'll start to go through this quickly. After the New York City truck bombing in November 2017 that killed 8 and wounded dozens, Loomer published a series of anti-Muslim posts. Loomer described herself as a proud Islamophobe, described Muslim as savages who ruin everything, and asked a Muslim journalist wearing hijab to disavow the attack. Loomer referred to Islam. Okay, more stuff there that we already saw. She said, "Someone needs to create a non-Islamic form of Uber or Lyft because I never want to support another Islamic immigrant driver." She did eventually get banned from Uber and Lyft. Gabby Giffords, Laura Loomer said, is brain dead after taking a bullet to the head during a tragic shooting outside the Walgreens next to my house. Everyone knows she doesn't write her own tweets. I don't even want to read this. She just did a racist Kamala thing. She more DEI things. She Biden's dying things. She falsely claimed that a winter storm that occurred before the 2024 Iowa Republican presidential caucuses was created by the American deep state. Okay. She has said that bombing attempts to the mail were false flag operations by Democrats. She has claimed that mass shootings were operations by the Democrats and false flags. And then we read this one where she says, if Kamala Harris wins, the White House will smell like curry, and just on and on and on. I know Cole was going to jump in here and add more, but I told him to stop. We don't need any more examples, but I appreciate his work going through that. You get it. And she said, and then I'll show you my interaction with her. Recently, because of the mainstream media reporting about her being on Trump's plane and their friendship, she said, "I stand by everything I've said. I will not be deleting any tweets. I will not apologize for fighting for Donald Trump." If you're a Trump supporter, just know, not that someone being in your movement necessarily reflects on you, but just know this is also someone that Trump thinks is great. Maybe that will impact you. I don't know. I will not apologize for fighting for Donald Trump. I will not apologize for fighting for the truth and the American people. The American people deserve people who will fight, who fight instead of cowering in fear of the media. I don't care about what they or any sellout member of Congress has to say about me. Isn't it interesting that it's always, oh, I'm so brave because I don't care what the media says about me. We're just saying what you said. We're just showing people what you said. And most good, honest, loving people don't like the stuff you've said. All, not most, all loving people. These are the people who have destroyed our country, she says, with lies and conspiracies for years. The American people see through it. You get the point. And then she says Trump is winning. And here was one of my favorite parts of any interview I do with a Trump supporter. Vivek Ramaswamy was one of them, where I'll just say, hey, you like the Constitution, right? What about this thing Trump said about the Constitution? And usually they don't handle it well.
States Constitution, which is what Joe Biden represents. And so,
and Donald Trump, you agree, though, he did post on Truth Social that he was supportive of terminating the Constitution?
No, Donald Trump is a constitutional conservative. I think that what Donald Trump was saying is that, we clearly have a crisis in this country where the current occupant of the White House is disrespecting the Constitution. And so I think that there's a lot of satire in a lot of what President Trump posts. But no, I wouldn't say that President Trump has ever said, let's just forget about the Constitution.
Can I read the message to you?
You can read it. Go ahead.
So with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democrat Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner? Or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type of magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution.
Well, I think that President Trump, as I just said, is trying to highlight the fact that we have a constitutional crisis in our country.
So terminate it? Come on.
No, I think that he's trying to show the absurdity of the fact that our constitutional rights and our liberties are not being upheld. They're being completely bastardized and defiled by widespread election fraud.
When people say that MAGA is a cult because they just support everything Trump says no matter what, it's moments like this where it's right there on the page or on the screen. Terminate all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, and then that's actually him saying, let's strengthen the Constitution.
She never concedes on this. That it's sort of, if you were to put a questionnaire to someone, am I in a cult? One of the things would be, will you do that? Will you look at something? With a different guy at just some rally that we included in the sort of greatest hits compilation we released recently, so it was on my mind. I originally asked, if Biden said, we should terminate the Constitution, what would you say? That'd be bad, right? He said, yeah, that'd be bad. And I said, well, Trump said it. He said, no, Trump never said that. That's fake. And I said, okay, but if it's real, just pretend, would you be mad at Trump for that? And he said, no. So he's mad at Biden for saying it. Oh, Biden didn't say it, but he's not mad at Trump because Trump didn't say it. Otherwise, he would be. Oh, but Trump did say it, so never mind. I'm not mad at him. I don't care. Terminate the Constitution. Woo-wee! Right? And a similar thing here where, no. He meant terminate in that. A termination such that the Constitution strengthened. That type of termination. It's ridiculous. If you answer yes to you would do that, pretzel bending in favor of the person that you are loyal to, you just may be in a cult. Then you had this exchange.
I don't believe that walking inside the United States Capitol is...
Oh, by the way, and we'll go back. You can see I'm already annoyed by this point in the interview. This was a while ago, as you can tell from the set and my vibe look. So bear with me for that.
Between what Joe Biden... I don't believe that walking inside the United States Capitol is domestic terrorism.
Okay, we'll put videos up on screen of them walking in the Capitol.
I think that Merrick Garland is a domestic terrorist. Okay, that's what I think. I don't appreciate. People would call me a terrorist simply because of my beliefs, because I've called myself ultra MAGA because I support President Trump. I've never committed a.
This, by the way, is the videos you're watching is what she referred to as just walking. I just walked in the Capitol. People just walked in the Capitol. What are you talking about?
Violent crime. But there's people that would say that I'm a domestic terrorist. No, that's what Merrick Garland has said. Merrick Garland has said that
might say that you support domestic terrorism if you're.
I don't support domestic terrorism. I support American patriots. I think that the January 6th political prisoners are patriots. I think that we should honor them and recognize them.
But what were you going to say about Merrick Garland?
I think that Merrick Garland is a domestic terrorist in the way that he's trying to terrorize people and he's trying to hunt down parents at school board meetings for simply addressing issues of their own children's public safety.
But you know
going
that
after conservative Americans.
You know that's not actually what that was, though, right?
That is what he did, though.
No, during that same
memo.
During the same, yes, the memo
in which
was.
He said that these parents were domestic terrorists
the
and that
ones
they needed
who
to monitor.
No, not just
the
those
ones who did what?
Not the ones who were just going and sharing their views, but the concern with school board members during this heated time, because I think it was kind of the COVID intense time where school board members, elected officials were getting death threats from individuals who were unhappy about their governance. That's the concern of law enforcement for sure, but not just individuals sharing their views at school board meetings.
They think that people who go to school boards are domestic terrorists. They think that white conservatives.
Isn't it so interesting that, by the way, some of you have taken note of when I play old clips of myself, the fact that back then I spoke so much softer and passively. I agree, that also annoys me. Assert yourself! But now I'm completely discombobulated as to what I was going to say. Oh, isn't it interesting if you're in an argument with someone and you are confronted with a series of facts that disproves your original premise, right? So she says,
the DOJ, Merrick Garland, classifies parents who go to school board meetings as domestic terrorists. First of all, I'd always just do a double check if that's true before you say it, because that sounds absurd. But all right, we're going to go with that. And so then we're in the proving phase. And as my proof that that's a false idea, a false thesis, I provide information about the actual memo that's being referred to, which was concern with threats towards school board members. If someone happens to be a parent threatening violently school board members, their parental status doesn't change the fact that law enforcement needs to look into if that's a credible threat or not. Okay. So I give the actual information about what's going on there. And her response is, the DOJ believes parents who go to school board members meetings are domestic terrorists. If you just end up repeating your original point over and over without substantiating it at all, you're probably the one who is wrong.
Conservative Christian Americans are the biggest terrorism threat in this country. That's what Merrick Garland said. So apparently all these cartels coming across our border right now, bringing fentanyl and killing people, and all these Chinese individuals that are assisting the cartels in manufacturing and shipping fentanyl to America that's killing thousands of people every single year in our country. Those people aren't terrorists, but white Christian conservative Americans are. It's just you can see why people are so upset and so divided in our country.
I will eat my microphone on a live stream if you can find a single quote or a single bit of evidence that shows Merrick Garland saying that white Christian Americans are domestic terrorists.
He said that the biggest terrorism threat in our country is white domestic terrorism. We don't have a white supremacy crisis in this country.
Do you know what percentage of domestic terrorist attacks or domestic terrorist, I should say, politically motivated murders, what percentage of those were white supremacists?
How many?
55%.
Okay, and compare that with the overall murder rate in our country. How many murders that took place were actually politically motivated?
What? She's mad at Merrick Garland for saying the greatest domestic terrorism threat is white supremacy, if that's something he said. And so I go, okay, if we're talking about politically motivated violence, well, one stat that I'm familiar with is that of politically motivated murders, 55% were white supremacists engaging in that, and it was motivated by the white supremacy. She says, well, of all the murders that happened, what percentage is political violence? But you were the one who set that framework. We weren't talking about all violence. We were talking about political violence. So that's what I was responding to. What the heck? Gosh. So that's Laura Loomer. And obviously you saw with her statements in that interview and outside of that interview, a very unhinged person. And the fact that Trump is associating with her should tell you, as if we didn't know this already, so much about the character of Donald Trump. And I'm going to continue with my prediction. A distancing of himself from Laura Loomer is incoming rapidly, because this is going to be detrimental to his campaign for sure. Let me know what you thought. Support the show by clicking the join button below.